On behalf of the Center for Environmental Information System, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore, I extend a very warm welcome to one and all present here. The webinar schedule brushes upon a spectrum of exciting and benefiting themes that discuss the aspect of invasions of fish species in Western Ghats. I take this opportunity to welcome our special guest, Dr.A.Manimekalan, Professor and Head, Department of Environmental Sciences, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. Dr.A.Manimekalan received his doctoral degree in environmental sciences from Manoranmayam Sundaranath University in the year 2001. He began his career as a reader at Bharathiar University from 2009 to 2012. Later, for 3 years, he worked as an associate professor at the same department. To mention some of his previous experiences, he was a JRF for DST, SRF CISR, Research Associate, Principal Scientist, and worked as a DST's Young Scientist at IFGTP. He has received numerous travel awards across the country and academic awards from various organizations. He is a member of several academic and professional organizations, and he has published several articles and books in international and national journals. On behalf of all, I welcome you, sir, to this program. We are so glad you could be here today to share your insights on fish invasions in Western Ghats and its impacts on exotic aquatic fauna.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the nice wording.
Yes, sir. I also welcome Dr. Maya Mahajan, who is our NVSET Center coordinator. She has 20 years of experience in the field of environment sustainability while working with academic and research institutions, NGOs, and corporate sectors. She has played a key role in mangrove conservations and restorations in Mumbai while working with the Godrej Group and received awards for the same. I welcome you, ma'am, on this special occasion. Also, I welcome all the participants from various institutions for this special day. I hope you all have an engaging and enriching session ahead. Now, I request Dr. Maya Mahajan to begin the session. Thank you.
Once again, welcome everyone. And as Vrinda told, today we are celebrating this world water and food, like as Manimekalan is going to talk about different fishes, and they also help us to combat climate change, and they act as key. They purify water and also protect us from like especially very disasters. I'm not going to talk too much about the importance of fish. More about it. There are so many threats. We are posing so many threats to, for example, reclamation of wetlands or industrialization, urban. And there is one more threat which rarely we talk. That is like invasive species or exotic species. Manimekalan talk. I'm so happy we both have studied the same institute. We have worked together, and I'm glad that to and please start with.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you very much. Thank you. I thank Dr. Brinda for a nice wording.
Thank you.
Today, everyone knows that. Is it my slide? Can you see my slide?
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Oh, the slide is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So today, everyone knows it's February 2nd is the World Wetland Day. Why we are celebrating the particular day as the International Day? That is to bring awareness about the particular things among the public, among the students, among the scientific forum. So if you could remember that particular day, the entire year, you will give some effort for their conservation. That is the motto, the aim of the celebrating particular day as the particular day. So World Environmental Day we are celebrating on 2nd February, and from this day onwards, you should always think about little bit wetland. What is wetland? Why it need to be conserved? Why it is important? We need to conserve. what is the what it provides to the humankind. All these things that we should understand. If you are not able to understand, definitely, as we also like the layman, will think, okay, it's a wetland, there are some fish, there are some birds, okay, fishermen are there, and during the dry season, people cultivate something, and only we will know this much only. But wetland provides lot of ecological service and anthropogenic service. It provides lot of ecological service. As Maya and Brinda said, I am not going to talk much about the wetland. And if you see today, there is lot of known threats and unknown threats to our fish community. Known threats, you know, okay, if somebody is doing dynamite in the river, then that will be knowing that, okay, somebody is dynamiting. Suppose if the river gets dried, okay, the fish population is becoming threatened, and somebody is suppose fishing and overfishing and using some dynamite. This is all known threat to fish. As Maya said, there is an unknown threat which is not even able to think about the common people. That's called exotic and invasive species. Exotic means, you should understand, that is introduced from the other geographical area or from the other country, which is not native to our place, is called exotics. For example, if you want to say, and Tamil Nadu, once upon a time, all works were done by our Tamil Nadu people. But now, most of the places, wherever you go, we can see the people from North India. So they take our job and we become jobless. So this is very simple explanation what is exotic, what exotic species does. So the similar way, the exotic fish means when they introduce from, fish cannot fly, fish cannot walk, right? So human has to bring from faraway place or the other from the other location, other geographical location, and we introduce for some purpose, for fishery purpose, for food. Actually, fish, there are different categories. One is ecologically important and food fish, ornamental fish, sports fish. So for this purpose only, the people bring fish from other geographical area. So when they introduce the fish, during that time, they are not knowing what kind of impact it will make on our native fish. Right. So the impact study was not done at that time. And alien, exotic is introduced from other geographical area. Alien, the species which introduced outside the natural, fast and present distribution, if these species become problematic, then it is invasive. That's called invasive alien species. So exotic, they introduce, they may not cause any problem to our native fish. But invasive species that will create problem to our native species. That's called invasive alien species. Alien means always outside. So this is the difference. So why we bring why bring fish from outside geographical area? One is for food purpose, right? And another for ornamental purpose, and another for sports purpose. Of course, ecological purpose nobody will bring because nobody will bother, no one is bothered about the ecology. If people are bothered about ecology, then they will not bring the exotic to our native ecosystem. So the biological invasion is one of the greatest threats to global biodiversity, with the multiple impact on species, ecosystem service. The increase in transportation of human across the world and expanding globalization has facilitated the large-scale introduction, spread, and establishment of alien species across the globe, many of which have eventually turned into invasive alien species. Because the transportation, because you cannot transport the fish from one place to another place for longer period. Of course, it needs oxygen, right? But from Africa, from USA, the next day you can bring anything to India. So the transportation made everything very close, very nearby. It brought very close. So due to the transportation, it is possible to bring anything. As freshwater ecosystem harbor the highest species richness for surface area in the planet. The impact of biological invasion may be disaster resulting in homogenization of fauna through serving as the stepping stone or transit of alien species to nearby water states. Impact of invasive flora and fauna may also vary between freshwater ecosystem. For example, invading macrophytes may alter hydrological sedimentation and water quality, besides residing the space available for co-occurrent species, especially those at a higher tropics level, such as invertebrates and the fish. And if you see, the map shows the exotic species distribution in the Western Ghats. So the species which you see here, Clarius garibinis, Cyprinus scorpio, Gambusia affinis, Oreochromis mozambicus, Oreochromis niloticus, and Fossilia reticulata. So these are the major exotic fish and introduced in the Western Ghats, and these are invasive species also, exotic and invasive species. And if you see the Western Ghats, almost the entire Western Ghats, these species are distributed. These are the species which are.
Sorry to disturb. Many guests.
Maya?
I can't. Please, many guests are waiting in the lobby. I'm just telling organizer to admit them and also record the session.
Yeah.
And these are the species. It's the distribution is not much and the population is not much, and these are introduced for the ornamental. These are generally ornamental and sports fish. And this distribution is not much as this invasive species. We'll see one by one what is the purpose. So sometime what happened, the people who keeps the aquarium tank in their home, when they go for a vacation sometime and they may not know what to do, and what they do, they just release it in the nearby water system, and later then it establishes a new population in the natural system. And sometimes when it's not able to find the food what we have given, then it started acclimatizing to the local environmental condition. Then it will start eating our native fish food and the native fish habitat and the native fish eggs, fingerlings. It will start eating our native fish food. It will occupy the habitat and it will start eating the native fish eggs and the fingerlings. Finally, over a period, only you can find the exotic fish and throughout the day. And A total of 28 exotic alien fish is recorded in the Western Ghats. So in the world, in the entire world, there are 25,000 species of fish is described so far. In India, it is it is about 2,500 fish, and in that 1,200 fish are freshwater. In the Western Ghats itself, there are 350 species of fish recorded, and in that 28 species are exotic. So these species are becoming a threat to our native fish. So we'll see one by one. This table shows the number of species and the common name and the geographical location, how it was introduced, whether it is alien or invasive. So there are 28 species. The first one is called Oreochromis mosambica. This fish from South Africa. It was brought for fishery purpose by the government of India, and to meet the fishery, the food purpose, fish food purpose, without doing any impact assessment study, it was introduced. And the people, first they thought it will not make any impacts. And over a period, what happens? It replaced our native fish. And if you see any wetland, the dominant species will be the Oreochromis mosambica, and generally it called the tilapia, and the common people they call it as jalebi gendai. Right, this is not native. The success of this species is it can live any kind of water. Even the water is polluted, you can see this fish. Suppose if they are selling in the market, then you should know from where the fish has been caught. Because if the fish has been caught from a polluted water, and there is a chance for accumulating the pollutant in the mussel. So when you consume, then there is a chance to transmit the pollutant to your body. So it is very much important to know from where the fish was caught. So what happened? This fish is having a high parental care. You might suppose if you have a chance to visit some place, wetland, you just sit quietly and then watch. So it will open the mouth. From the buccal cavity, from the mouth, all small fingerlings will come out. Suppose any threats, any enemy comes, then all fish will go inside. Right? Suppose if any fish, suppose 100 eggs it lays, 90 become fingerlings, and from 70 to 8 fingerlings will become mature because of the parental care of this fish. Am I audible?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, my slide visible?
It's visible, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this is the kind of parental care this fish is having. And the food for this fish, it will eat anything. It will eat our native fish food, and it will occupy the native fish habitat. It will eat the fingerlings, eggs. So when it eats the fingerlings and the eggs, and it will prevent the next producing the next generation of our native fish. So this is the way slowly it will occupy our native fish completely, and over a period it will completely replace our native fish. So most of the wetlands you can see only this tilapia. The another fish is Oreochromis nileticus. This is also from Africa, brought for aquaculture purpose. This is also a invasive species like tilapia. And another important fish This is called Ptericholectis paradalis, and this is called armored catfish, because on the body there will be a skeleton which looks like an arm wearing a guard. So this is called armored catfish. And most of the aquarium tank you can find this fish is called tank cleaner, right? And once it is established, and it will also spread like anything. And since this is the air breathing catfish, and it doesn't need much water also, just a little bit of moisture is enough to breathe and survive. And in South America, these fish, South Africa, and also introduced in South America, and they are finding very difficult to eradicate this fish. And people doesn't like much this fish for eating. So this is also becoming much problem. So my kind request, if anyone is keeping this fish in their aquarium tank in your house, please don't release it in the nearby water body. So that will also become a threat to our native fish. So the nature has created for everything. So since our parents left the resource, whatever the resource is available, we are enjoying. So it is our moral duty to leave the same resource to the coming generation. So each and every one should take a part in conservation, right? And another fish, this is called common carp. This is from China, and this is called Chinese carp. And there are two fish in this. One is a scale carp, and another one is leather carp. Both are called the common carp. And this also brought for the fishery aquaculture purpose. And this is generally a bottom feeders, and you can see the mouth terminal. It goes down, then you will pick up the food. So, and another important fish, this is called Clarius garibinius, and this is called this is called catfish. And most of the places in Coimbatore, in and around this, they are culturing the fish, and illegally, because the fish is banned in India even for research purpose, because this is a very it's exotic and invasive species, and it will eat like anything. Whatever the fish, it is a highly carnivore fish, highly predatory and carnivore fish. So even it can catch even the bigger fish also. And the in and around the Coimbatore and also everywhere, the people are culturing the fish. And what is the food for this fish? And the chicken waste, they collect the chicken waste all over the Coimbatore, and they dumping. Even the dead dog, if you throw it in their pond, and within 5 minutes, nothing will find that much predatory fish. And you can find in the fish market, they will sell it in live. And when you buy the fish, they will kill it, and then they will cut the fish. They will hit on the head of the fish. So this one should not culture this fish. This is banned by our government, and this is a highly predatory fish. And this is called guppies, small guppies, and you can find it in aquarium fish. And more than the exotic ornamental fish, our native fishes are wonderful color. You can see the problem is our native fish are very sensitive to water quality. Even a small change in the water quality, and this cannot live. So that is the problem in our native fish. But in the exotic and the people, even in the low oxygen level also, it can survive. And it's called mosquito larva. This fish was introduced for controlling mosquito larvae. And another, this is also, this is called Gambusia, a fish, and from the North and Central America. It brought it from North and Central America, and for controlling mosquito larvae. And another fish, green sword-tailed fish, because the tail will look like a sword, and this is from the Central America, and mostly you can find aquarium shops. This is from North America. This is called the southern Plotty fish. And this is another important fish. You can find almost all aquarium shop, and some people says this is the Wasp Fish, and this and another one, and doesn't have any Vastu important for any of the fish. In the nature, all species is created for some purpose. So without any purpose, the nature will not create any species. For mosquito, there is a reason. Okay, because this the mosquito is the food in the food chain. Mosquito is important food for many of the organism, and also the nature want to keep the population under control. So the nature wants to spread the disease, and these are kind of vectors. Right, because the resource what available on the earth, it needs to come for a longer period. So whatever the population is available now, if all these resources were utilized, then no resource will be existed for forthcoming population. So the nature want to control the population. So that's why it is also created fish. Another, this is Gourami, and this is called three-spotted Gourami. You can see three spot on the body. This is from Southeast Asia. Aquarium system and ornamental trade. So ornamental trade is a very important trade, and people should love our native fish. So if you start loving our native fish, and definitely it will be a conservation. It will be a conservation of our native fish. And so many our native ornamental fish are exported to other foreign countries. In many foreign countries, our native fish are having high ornamental value. Right. This is another Southeast Asian. This is from Southeast Asia. It's also aquarium fish. It's called moonlight Gourami. Right. This is another fish. It is called Fishelia mexicana. This is short fin molly. This is from North and Central America, and this also introduced in our system through aquatic. This another fish is from South America in the aquaculture system, and also aquarium system. Also, it is been introduced, and Pyracactus mesopotamicus. This is the zoological name, and this also for both aquarium and aquaculture purpose. This is another fish, Practus brachyphomus. This is also aquarium purpose and aquaculture trade. Through aquarium and aquaculture trade, this was introduced in our native system, and this is also highly predatory fish. Almost all catfishes are predatory fish. So now it is also one of the big threats to our native fish. And another important fish, Aravana, and people say that this is the Wasp Fish. These all just value added to the fish for for its sale purpose. Just like that, if they sell, the people will not buy because the people are more greedy, right? They always think by luck, and they will get some money. And if they pray the God, God will give more money. And if you keep some fish like this, then some luck will come. And people always they think like that. It's all myth. No fish is having, or what is that? Any vastu value. And these are like, one of the species like other organisms. But the one thing, when people keep the aquarium, when you spend some time, when you sit and observe the fish, the behavior, so you will get some mental relaxation. Only for that, then aquarium, the people keep the aquarium, not for any other purpose. So when you sit quietly and watch for 1 hour, half an hour, then automatically your stress level goes down, right? So if you are having an aquarium in your home, and today onwards you sit there quietly for half an hour and you just observe the fish, the behavior, and definitely your stress level will go down. And people very with so much of interest, they set the aquarium, and later they not even have time to take care of the aquarium. The purpose of aquarium is to keep ourselves away from the stress. So this is this fish from Asia and North America. It's a kind of sports fish. It's like the trout fish. This is a kind of trout. And the Britishers, when the Britishers came to India, they don't want to eat our native fish, because our native fish eats all kind of shit, and they want to eat, the Britishers only want to eat their fish. So what they did, they introduced in a particular water bodies, and this will live only where the water temperature is very low, below 15 or below 18. Only in that water the fish can survive. And what they did when they introduced the fish in the system, and they declared whatever the birds and animal which catch fish, and if they brought it by killing the bird and animal, and they awarded some rewards. Suppose one person, they bring what is that? Kingfisher bird. 10 kingfisher means they'll give more award. So that they protected the exotic fish, but it has become threats to our native population, because this is also very highly predatory fish. And if you see the teeth, it is having a lot of teeth. This is all highly predatory fish. And hotter, because hotter main food is the fish. If they bring hotter, and they give awards and so much of money. So these are the indirect threats to not only our fish biodiversity, and also our bird and aquatic animal diversity. That's all the hidden threats. And this is called silver cuff, hypothalmictis melotrix. This is from East Asia and is having aquatic aquaculture purpose. And this is called silver cup because it looks like a silver, and it is named after the silver cup. And most of the wetland also the people started culturing the fish. And this is called the kissing Gourami, right? Because the lips looks like, when you kiss, how you keeps your lips, the fish lips will looks like that. So this is from Thailand and Indonesia, and it has entered in our in India through aquarium and ornamental fish trade. Right. So another fish, one important fish is called grass carp, Tinoperingudon idila. This is from Eastern China and Russia, and this is also having aquaculture purpose. Most of the wetlands, the people have started culturing the fish. And if you see, in the earlier days, the wetlands are not given for action, and it's not given for tender. It's not given for someone through tender. So there are a lot of native fish population was there in the wetlands. So during the dry season, if anyone from village, then you will be know once in a year when the wetland get dry, and they will announce all the villages in and around the wetland, and today they're going to catch fish. All village people can come and catch the fish. So people will, on particular day, people will enter and then they'll catch all the fish. And the small fish, they will not catch, it will be remaining, and also the egg will remain. When the fresh water comes, then it will start new population. And when they started giving this wetland for action, and the people who took this wetland and they started culturing, the exotic fish like tilapia, and then katla, rohu, mirgal. Katla, rohu, mirgal is from Gangetic farm, and it has been introduced. It has been introduced in all the reservoirs. Though it is from our India, but it is a different geographical region. Ganges is a Gangetic farm, and katla, rohu, mirgal, it doesn't have any impact on native fish because it is confined to only the reservoirs, and it's not coming to the natural water, rivers and the stream. It is not established, and this is called a grass carp because it mostly eats the grass. So when it eats the grass, and our fish, what our fish will do, our fish sticks the eggs in the grasses. Okay. And when this fish eats the grass, along with the grass, it also will eat our native fish egg. So this becomes threats to our native fish. And this is called the forest snakehead, Channa lucius. This is from Thailand to Indonesia, and from Indonesia it has come to India, and through it entered in the is a predatory. It will eat, and it's called red-tin foil, Bormani altus. This is from Asia. This is also having aquatic aquarium and ornamental value. It is entered to aquarium and ornamental trade. And another fish is called alligator fish. The head looks like alligator. And I received a call from few Tirunelveli people who is living in and around the wetland, and they said, "Sir, in our wetland we saw a different new species, new fish we have not seen before. It looks completely different," they said. Then I asked them to send a photo. It was this fish. This is called alligator fish, alligator gore. This is from North America, and generally what happened, and the people will keep their fish in a particular place, and during the flood they may not able to control it. So during the flood it will reach all the water bodies. So, and then when it comes, then it will establish in the native fish. And this fish is highly predatory fish, because alligator fish, you can say, when something goes in the mouth and nothing can escape. And you see the size of the fish, it can grow more than the size of this size. And this is a very dangerous fish, and this become this is a very threats to our native fish. So when someone introduces this fish in the aquatic system, any wetlands, and within few months nothing will be there. It will eat all the fish from the pond, and later only we can find only this fish. And this is called Oscar fish. This is from North America. Astronatus oscillatus. This is it's entered through aquarium trade. And another fish, Arapahmia. This is from South America. This is the largest fish in the freshwater ecosystem. And you say this is not the maximum size, and it can grow more than this. I think 250 kg it can grow. This is completely a freshwater fish, and the world largest fish. This is called world largest fish, Arapahmia. This is called Arapahmia gigas. Gigas means large. So this is aquarium, and this fish caught recently during last tsunami, last cyclone. This fish was caught in Kerala water body. So that means someone is culturing this fish in their confined water bodies, and when the flood comes, it enter into our native system. Then it will be a threat to our native fish. So what are the fish I am showing? It's all there in our country now, right? And this knows that it is the goldfish, and without this you cannot see any aquarium. And this is also entered through ornamental trade. And this is from the Central America. This is called a Mexican major. Having ornamental trade value. So these are the fish having ornamental value. And my kind of advice, suppose if anyone is keeping this kind of fish in your aquarium, and you should not release it in the native in the natural water, and later it will establish as a new population, then it will become a big threat to our native fish. And if you came to know any fish, any different size or different fish which you have not seen anywhere, that can be brought to the notice of the local officials, so they will take action. And many of the places they are keeping the culturing fish, which is illegal, and those kind of things also should bring to the knowledge of the fisheries officials, and that will be your contribution for the conservation, right? Why we should not keep the exotics? I told you many reasons. Right. Generally, it involve in it spoil the ecological system. It spoil our native fish population. It has become big threats to our native fish. And if this thing is continuous, and definitely after some time, and we cannot find any fish, only the few exotic fish we can see in the natural system, like the Clarius garibinus, Cyprinus scorpio, Gumbasia finish, Areochromis musamica, this Niloticus, and the Fossilia reticulata. So these are the major fish which occupy the maximum river system in our India. So that you should not be one of the reason for promoting these exotics. So if you know that, please inform to our higher officials. And one more thing, instead of keeping the exotics in your natural aquarium, and you can promote, you can keep the native fish population, and that will give more ecological knowledge and the individual fish knowledge that will give. You can also learn a little bit about that, right? So these are when you say threats, generally people think, okay, you dynamite, that's the threats, and you fish over harvest, angling, that's all the threats. But more than that, and these are the exotics. Exotics become big threats to our native fish nowadays. So I hope that this talk would have sensitized you about the exotic fish and its impact on our native fish. I sincerely thank the organizer, Brinda, and Dr. Maya Magazine, Dr. Brinda, and the higher officials of this organization, Amrita organization. I thank you once again. If you have any question, now the session is open for question. Thank you very much.
Actually, I just wanted to ask one thing. Like, is there any stringent law or bans for bringing this exotic or invasive species? More than exotic, like exotic may not be that much great trade, but invasive fish species. Are there any laws so
This
that
one,
which
the
prevent?
Clarius garibinus is banned. Okay, so one should not grow. It is illegal, right? So if anyone, if you know that someone is culturing the fish, that should be bring it to the knowledge of the official. Definitely, they will take action.
No, that is okay, but bringing itself, like, can we?
See, when it is banned means bringing the fish from the outside country, it is illegal.
Yeah.
One should not bring, because without knowing, they bring some fingerlings. In a small container, 1,000 fingerlings can bring. Right. So that's all people are bringing without the knowledge of the customs. But the customs, when you land in the airport, custom will ask, do you have any exotic fish species? Nowadays they ask. When you are filling the immigration form, in the form itself they ask, are you bringing any meat? Are you bringing any exotic species? The people say no. But when they caught, and then they will get the punishment. So bringing the exotic itself, it is illegal, it is offense.
So what all already we have spaces in the aquarium, they have brought before the laws, or how it is?
See, when they say you should not bring aquarium, we should not bring exotic for aquarium and ornamental purpose, and they send it through the other way, like along with the food fish, they send this fish, right? So there are people find the loopholes.
Right. And another my query is this river linking project. Like now we are talking about exotic or invasive species which we are bringing from other countries. Now there will be some fish flora, fish fauna in Gangetic plains, and some fish fauna will be different in southern region. So if we do this river linking, will it impact local fish fauna?
Absolutely, it is not correct linking the river. So, as per my concept, the rivers are like the blood vessels in our human body, right?
Yeah.
So, if you link the river, that means you are linking the two blood vessels. right? And each river is, the fauna is very unique. So when we see, when you see the fish fauna in India, Western Ghats and the Sri Lanka, it is same. Some of the species are common. That we say that okay, once Sri Lanka and India was linked, land-wise it linked, the rivers are linked, right? So these are the evidence to study to say the land system was connected, right? But now if you linking the river, and we said the what is that? Once we see some fish that is found in Himalaya. So that means that Himalaya and our central India is linked. So that we are studying for the to know the geological process. But now you linked everything, and definitely that will be big impact on the native fish. See, our water resource, we have enormous water resource, no doubt. But the management system is not sufficient enough to conserve our water system. Excuse me?
Your voice is breaking.
Participants can unmute themselves. Yeah. Is there any other question?
Please unmute your mic.
Participants can raise their questions. Is there any other questions?
Somebody is talking, but voice is not.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's Sendil
Hello,
Kumar.
can I
You can
have
type.
a
You
question?
can type.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, sir, you were talking about exotic and then illegal. Now, in the recent past, the ornamental fishes and aquarium fishes have become a big business, a looming business.
Yeah.
And most of the exotic species come from Thailand and then Singapore, even China. It's all from the Amazon. We know that certain species are coming from. But once it is becoming a looming business and everybody, a small child also is talking about exotic species, that awareness amongst children have grown big, and we are exploiting this. But there is no regulatory body, or as you said, there are illegal routes they are bringing. But India can, as a body, they can control this environmental issues, this exotic thing. There is no, because once the problem becomes big, then it gets attention, then there is law and then regularity. While the process itself in the beginning stage, something should happen.
So there is a lot of law and regulations are there, right? For example, when when the law says you should not bring any fish from America, right? What they do, they send it to Malaysia or Singapore. From Singapore or Malaysia, they are bringing to India. And if they say, okay, bringing fish, live fish from Singapore and Malaysia is banned. And what they do, they send it to Tibet. From Tibet, they bring it to India. So always they find another loopholes.
Yeah, there are a lot of illegal tributaries have grown. But if you look at, I'm from Chennai, I know that in Kolattur there are a lot of ponds and farms which are breeding exotic species. There can be on-site inquiry on this. If not in Chennai, it is in Coimbatore. Even a small boy or who is buying fishes, they know that where exactly these things are happening, and there are a lot of YouTube videos, and in Bangalore, and these are the spots. So this is very much available that what is happening, but the authorities are not taking much steps. That is my query. I'm on the legal side. Why there is no protection on this? Because later we regret about what is happening. So is there any constructive mechanism on preventing these things? As in,
Actually, we are working with the government, sir.
I'm just
And
asking this
then
of
we are working with the government. Then and there we are giving lot of suggestions. And now the biodiversity law also a powerful law. And even the fishery, there is a separate law for fisheries to control the exotics and are also ornamentals. And most of the places the system is corrupted. So that is the major problem. And but somehow now they aware of the importance of ecology and our native biodiversity protection, protecting our native biodiversity. System is now changing, and the new people, the younger generations are entering into the administrative system, and things are become better now.
Any other
Hello.
questions? Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead. You can unmute and ask, no issues. Or you can type in chat box. Brinda, are there any questions in chat box?
No, ma'am, no, ma'am. No questions.
Any,
Ma'am, sir, I have questions. Like,
Yeah.
is there any relationship between invasive species and climate change? Are they playing any role in climate change?
No, generally, that's what I said. Say, our native fishes are highly sensitive,
Yes, sir.
right? So
Yes.
the climate change definitely it affects our native fish, but whereas the exotics are adapted to the wide range of the environmental parameters.
Okay, sir.
It can sustain in any some fish mean the tilapia. It can live any kind of water. Even the water temperature level increase, it can sustain. But whereas our native fish, if the temperature is high, definitely the oxygen level will go down. You might have seen in the many newspaper that the particular pond, the fishes are found dead.
Yes,
So these are the reason, like rising temperature and lowering the oxygen level, or the reason for the fish to die. So definitely the climate change, one way it affects our native fish, and another way it promotes the growth of the exotics.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, Pavitra, please go ahead and ask. Unmute yourself. Pavitra, yeah, you can unmute and ask. Or you can type in chat box. Any other questions, please? Pavitra is not asking.
ஒரு ஆன்லைன் டாக்ல இருக்கேன், கூப்பிடுறேங்க.
Okay, if there are, I think there are no more questions. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Manimekalan for such an informative and interesting talk. I'd like to conduct this lecture again. Now our students are writing these of people. They are different universities and colleges that they have joined. Hope everybody has enjoyed this information. And let's not just have webinar. Is action for people and nature. So let us actually take some action, generate awareness about our responsible behavior when we are having aquarium or when we are seeing or invasive species. At the same time, we can conserve nature and wetlands in our surrounding areas. What measures can be taken? Is awareness generation more important than just listening or conducting? Yeah. So I request everyone of you to share what all you learned with your family and friends and take place to conserve.
கூப்பிடுறேங்க ஆன் ஒரு கிளாஸ் வருங்க.
Yeah. And thank you very much again. Thanks, Prita, Nitya, for
Thank you, ma'am.
excellent coordination. And once again, thank you, all participants and my dear Megalan. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone, and happy Wetlands Day.
Once again I thank you for everyone, Dr. Brunda and my friend Dr. Maya Magajan and the officials of the Amrita Institute for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the valuable thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sir.
thank you.
Okay, then.
Shall we leave, ma'am? Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. In the meeting.